I'm so sorry for the title. I'm bamboozling you all into thinking I've like joined the Daily Wire's side. Sorry about the mess. I literally just can't be arsed. And I'm in a bad mood. So we're gonna do our makeup, also talk about the gender war. For anyone who doesn't know, I am non-binary. I have been out since I was 15. I prefer they, them pronouns. Is there any particular reason for that? Well, just I remember spending my entire childhood feeling like I was a boy trapped in a girl's body. Because I feel like a boy trapped in a girl's body, I feel like I have a very different view on gender to a lot of people. I like the feminine aesthetic. I like to feminize myself despite not feeling feminine internally. I feel like I'm a bit of a bloke. I'm a bit of a guy's guy. I'm one of the lads. Makes me sound like such a pick-me when I try and talk about like my self-expression. It's not even necessarily that I like to hang out with boys. I don't particularly like hanging out with boys. They are really gross. I'm also really gross. And I think that's why it works. Like, a lot of my female friends are also really masculine. And they still identify with the word woman, so why can't I still identify with the word woman? I just don't feel like that word applies to me. Bear that in mind, because this is important for the conversation we are about to be having. There seems to be this nice little community brewing on the internet called TERFs, themselves gender critical feminists. And as a feminist and someone who is gender critical, I guess you could say, clarify that I'm not gender critical in like the TERF way. I'm just critical of gender. Generally, I'm critical of all terms that segregate us as human beings. I take offense to that, actually. Completely disparaging the work that I have done in trying to, like, change the way people see feminism. There is very much still a very common perception that feminism is just women will be superior to men. To some degree, there is that energy in the feminist community. I know a lot of my friends and myself make very female empowering music that is very much about like, haha, look at the silly men. But that is literally in response to having literal decades of music that is about not liking women, and then women were like, but I want songs about not liking men. So they're filling the void that was left. If you don't like the music, that's fine, but like nobody's gonna not call you a little bitch when you're being a little bitch, you know what I mean? I think where this entire thing falls for me is very much, I have never really seen the gender binary. I've understood that I didn't fit in with the girls because I didn't act ladylike enough, and I didn't fit in with the boys because I was a girl. Because of that ostracization, I feel like it's definitely put like this really fucked up lens towards the gender binary in me. And I won't refute that the Daily Wire is kind of correct in their assumption that women do certain things and men do certain things. But that's not because of, like, biological programming. It's literally because we are told we are meant to do those things. So, when I was younger, I feel like this is kind of a really bold example, but we had this Victorian Day at school, right? And, like, usually our classes were mixed, but for this particular class, the boys and girls had to separate, and I felt really lost and confused at why I was being separated from all of my friends who were boys. Trust me, it wasn't anything to do with the fact I had a crush on them. It was the fact they would let me play Lord of the Rings with them, and the girls never wanted to play Lord of the Rings. So, if they had better choice in games, maybe I'd want to hang out with them more. Nah, we used to play EastEnders and shit. I spent my whole freaking life being told that I didn't act girly enough, or it was too girly, and I always called myself a tomboy girly girl. Now, I see a lot of TERFs bringing up, like, the phrase tomboy as kind of like a rebuttal, being like, yeah, well, masculine women just used to be tomboys, now they're actual boys. Tomboys still exist. I have friends who call themselves tomboys. What I think a lot of these TERFs aren't acknowledging, the word boy is in that. It is literally referring to yourself as the opposite sex. That is what that phrase is. It's saying, I don't act like a girl does, I act like a boy does. Therefore, I am not a girl, I am a tomboy. I don't feel like it is very gender critical to turn around and be like, well, women are weaker than men, and they are not able to protect themselves, they aren't How is that feminist? How is it feminist in any way, shape, or form to view women as too weak to look after themselves? Do you not think women are gonna stand up and try and do something if there is a woman being attacked in the same bathroom as them? They are going to try and help, as any decent person would. If you're telling me that you wouldn't try and help, well, you're just telling me a lot more about you than you're telling me about trans women. I just find it really aggravating, because it's the same people who make these defined boxes and then tell us that we don't fit into those boxes, that are telling us that we need to get back in the boxes that they kicked us out of. Are you really gonna look at me with a straight face, Matt Walsh, and tell me that you think I am a woman? I think it is absurd how, like, genitalia... I didn't talk about this whilst I was filming the video or doing my makeup, because it really makes me uncomfortable as a subject. But how genitalia obsessed these people are just makes me so uncomfortable. Why do you want to know what's between my legs? What, you want to fuck me? Wanna fuck me? You think I'm pretty? But if it comes to this, fine. I'll whip it out. I'll show you what's in between my legs. It is a copy of Christmas Mingle, the Christian Mingle movie ad. How are you gonna treat me now? Like, genitalia and language obsessed transphobia is, language evolves. Language has literally been evolving the entire time I've been alive. Do you think the word selfie existed when I was born in 2002? What do you think slay meant back then? Yes. Do you think these words were just, like, commonly being used? No, they weren't commonly being used. But within my lifetime, they have been added into a dictionary. Do you know why they got added into a dictionary? Because they became popularly used. Now, it's almost as if language will adapt based on the needs of the people using the language. It's almost as if it's designed to do so. Just checking myself out in the viewfinder every now and then, I'm like, oh, they're so ugly. I find it really absurd that you can turn around to a trans woman and say that she's not a real woman, but you'll turn around to me and call me a woman. When I don't identify with that experience, I don't identify with that word, it means nothing to me. It means something to a trans woman. Give her my word. I don't need to be seen as a woman to feel comfortable. I'd rather be seen as a human. The only times I will ever make myself look more masculine is if I do not want to be hit on that day. When I effeminize myself, it means that I have a better chance of people liking me. Like, the prettier you are, the more likely people are to be nice to you. Sexism. We don't talk about the sexism of TERFs, do we? I think we should. I think as a society we need to start talking about the sexism that is present in transphobia, because enough feminists are getting away using sexism as a justification for their transphobia. But they're like, well, I just don't feel comfortable around males. And, like, it's cool. I don't particularly feel comfortable around males, even though most of my friends are male. I'll say that, I'll admit that right up, because I know that I am female-bodied. And I know what society has put in store for me based on my body type. Does that mean I have to live my life by it? No. I feel like I need to dumb this down really hard for people like Matt Walsh to understand. Right, so we've got two boxes. We've got box 1, which is where all the men live. And you've got box 2, which is where all the women live. And, like, we don't need to talk about the implications of the society, like, men and women are completely segregated, and how babies are born. It's probably like they meet up once a year and have a big fuckfest or something. I don't fucking know. But, hypothetically, yeah, I know you like that word, Ben. We are living in a society in which men and women are completely segregated. Now, all of the women have very specific roles, and all of the men also have very specific roles. It's almost as if this is a parallel of our actual society. It's crazy, I know, right? I'm such a good writer. Now, you spend your entire life in, let's say, the women's society. Let's talk about my personal experience. And every single day, someone comes up to you and goes, you're not meant to do that. You're not in box 1. If you were in box 1, you could do that, but you're in box 2, which means you're only allowed to do this stuff. You eventually get sick of it. So either you choose to leave, or, even worse, the people in your community decide to kick you out because you don't fit in, which is an all too common experience that you will probably never have to live. The people inside these boxes have no idea what life is like outside of the boxes. Now you, as the person who's just left your box, end up travelling this desolate wasteland. We call it no man's land. In no man's land, there are hundreds of thousands of lost souls just like you who have been kicked out or have had to leave a society that does not deem them worthy of fitting in. But then they get to the other box, the box that they've been told their entire life that they should be in, and they don't fit in there either. They set up camp in no man's land. The people inside the boxes, they fear the people in no man's land because they've never been. They've never experienced it. They've never held hands with somebody from no man's land. They've never even looked them in the eye. How are they meant to learn about something that they've never actually experienced if they won't listen to experiences? And the fear-mongering continues, the propaganda gets pushed. Anyone that lives outside the box is further ostracized. They aren't allowed to interact with regular society. Regular society now fear them. What happens then? There's so many people out here in no man's land. We're all looking for a home. So where do we find it? With each other. Daily Wire likes to push this idea that trans people are going to take your kids. No, trans people are going to save your trans kids. If you are that cruel and unkind that you are going to kick your child out because they don't align with a fucking box. But do you know what happens when you force everyone out of your little fucking boxes because of arbitrary reasons? We build homes, we build communities, we build new boxes out of glass, and we share our experiences. We let them be known. But every now and then, because the people inside the box have only been told awful, awful things about us, a couple will leave. They'll march out and they'll attack our communities. And everyone in no man's land feels it. So please, either break down the walls of your box or leave us the fuck alone. An additional note for Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. What is a woman? Whatever the fuck she wants to be. Probably not an object for you to control though. Hope that helps.
Pipe down, one day your prince will come. What if I don't need a prince, wench? I'm the fucking king. Or the stories they write